I would just add a quick historical note to that, which is that, like, the biggest legislative, or the biggest judicial, I should say, defeat that creationism has suffered probably in the last 20 years was in Dover, Pennsylvania, where intelligent design was basically being, brought in to replace, standard science, right, evolutionary science in classrooms because of like a takeover by far right school board members. And so like, this case ended up going, to a judge who was appointed by, I want to say Reagan or H.W. Bush, a Republican appointed judge. Uh, and basically, the expert witnesses were some of the top creationists in the world at that time. People like Michael Behe, author of Darwin's Black Box, other people from the Discovery Institute. And the only point I would make about this is it was a resounding defeat for the intelligent design side, and it was a resounding defeat in large part due to the efforts of other Christians who actually respected science. And so the main expert witness for evolution was not an atheist, was not like an arrogant atheist scientist. He was a Christian scientist, a devout Catholic named Kenneth Miller, who was like, yeah, I'm a scientist, I'm a Christian. My faith means the world to me, and I hate seeing it perverted by people who basically want to pervert both faith and science by kind of conflating them and pretending they're the same thing. And that Republican appointed judge agreed. He was like, absolutely, this is a transparent attempt to get rid of science and supplant it with religious indoctrination under the guise of creation science or intelligent design science. It's not going to fly here.
Can I comment?
I don't know if it's spoke.
I've been listening to you guys for quite a while. The indoctrination is on the left. You got to understand that
Hey, Matt.
humanism is being taught in the
Hey, Matt.
schools.
I don't know if you. Hey, Matt. Nice to have you. Hey.
Thanks.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm listening to a lot of what you guys have to say. I've studied intelligent design. I've studied evolution. I used to be an agnostic evolutionist. I'm not anymore. But to say that or to infer that it's only the right who's indoctrinating people is just simply inaccurate. You want to say the far right, they don't believe in science? I don't buy that either. I've studied a lot of stuff in science, and I'll tell you, on the right, there's a lot of people who are incredibly dedicated to science. But I just want to let you guys know that there's indoctrination going on the left with secular humanism, which is recognized as a religion, and it's being pushed down people's throats in the secular schools. So if you're going to complain about one, you need to be consistent and complain about the other. And you should let the facts speak. The facts. That's what I do. I listen to the facts, and that's why I don't believe in evolution.
I don't know what you were responding to, but it wasn't anything I said because I wasn't making a political point, right? These are like I said, it was a Republican judge, a Republican appointed judge who recognized intelligent design is obviously not science, right? It's not a left right thing. It's a pro science versus anti science thing.
Why is intelligent design not science?
Because it doesn't use
Well,
the scientific method. It doesn't make falsifiable, testable scientific predictions.
Okay, good. First of all, can you tell me what the scientific method is?
Yeah. Scientific method involves constructing theories, right, to fit empirical data. And those
Incorrect.
theories
Not correct.
those theories have to be testable empirically.
No.
And if those theories have mechanisms that are not empirically testable and they make predictions that are completely unfalsifiable or empirically indistinguishable from competing theories, then it's very difficult to call it a theory in the first place. The way I rely on what to call a theory is by the consensus of scientists. And they overwhelmingly reject intelligent design. Michael Behe's own institution has basically disowned.
I just asked you for the definition. Now you're going on. You're preaching secularism.
That's not
and you don't want to go with
secularism.
consensus. Yeah, it's called the consensus of the majority of people who believe so. That's called argumentum ad populum. It's invalid when it comes to factual examination. So science is the observation of phenomena or conditions and then developing a hypothesis. The hypothesis is then tested. And upon testing, when predictability is arrived at, if the hypothesis is not invalidated with predictability, then it becomes a theory. And that's basically what science is, but it's dependent upon philosophy. It's dependent upon the assumption of uniformitarianism. It's also founded in a large part on the assumption of the validity of the laws of logic and the assumption in the integrity of the observers. So there's a philosophy right
What
there
does
at the
that have
heart of
to
it.
do with anything I said? You just like address points that like no one has raised, Matt. Like I understand you're a precept, but no one was calling any of those things into question. If you want to say that like I doubt the laws of logic or something like that, fine. That's not science either. Yeah, science does presuppose all those things. I never would deny that. Of course, science has philosophical assumptions.
Then let me ask you something. What do you do with the Cambrian explosion problem as a fact and evidence?
What do you think the Cambrian explosion problem is?
530 million years ago, the Cambrian explosion lasted for roughly 10 million years. So that's roughly 2% time. 2% of the total time of the Cambrian period is when 40 new phyla suddenly appeared in the fossil record. 40 new phyla, body types. So why is it that the theory of evolution is correct, which teaches gradation over long periods of time? Why is it that the physical evidence shows the contrary in the Cambrian explosion?
It doesn't show the contrary. Nothing about the Cambrian explosion contradicts evolution. If someone told you that, you were misinformed, Matt. I hate to say.
I'm just going to conclude you haven't studied it.
Feel
Okay,
free to start throwing some peer-reviewed scientific journals that claim otherwise.
One at a time. One at a time.
Who can
One at a
provide
time,
a
please.
source? Can somebody provide a source?
All you have to do is look up the Cambrian explosion and the Cambrian fossil record, and you'll see roughly 40, there's a little bit of debate, but 40 new body types. If you've studied the issue of genetic information transference and how modification of information occurs and transference through a population, you'll find that it's basically mathematically impossible to have 40 new body types form in like 10 million years. This is why they invented the theory called punctuated equilibrium.
Matt, can you start citing some sources, please? I have no idea what you're like. It sounds like you're just making stuff up. But if you're not, I'd love to hear the evolutionary biologists, the peer-reviewed material that you're citing.
So when you say peer-reviewed, it has to be peer-reviewed by those who affirm that position?
Peer-reviewed by experts in the field, which is not argument ad populum, by the way. You don't know what that is. Right?
Consensus. Yes, I do. I debate regularly.
Consensus of the expertise. You lose a lot of debates, and I've seen many of them. But consensus of experts is
okay. Now I know that I can't trust
populum.
you. No, I'm sorry, I can't trust
You've
your
lost
judgment
debates against me. I've interacted with you before.
Against you?
Yeah.
On what?
On Discord.
On what? On what?
On Precept, on Tag, on
Precept, on Tag? Are you kidding me?
No.
Wow. So you actually, I don't remember you at all. No offense meant. So you actually defeated me in a debate on presuppositionalism?
I would toot my own horn about it, but it's not that uncommon. You lose most of your encounters. I don't know. Okay. Maybe you're not aware of this from the inside.
No, I'm not aware of it since.
Yeah. Anyway,
since but like the people I ask can't answer the difficult questions that I ask them, and then they go claim victory with their peer-reviewed individuals. See, the problem here, what you're saying is that you have not studied the issue. If you have studied the Cambrian issue, you would know about this. You should study it. Why haven't you studied?
Who are you citing?
I'm not citing anybody. Can you?
Okay, so
let me ask you.
Okay.
No.
Don't. The Cambrian explosion is impossible.
Who told you that?
You don't remember where you heard it.
Excuse me. Excuse me. First of all, I don't have a photographic memory to remember every single thing I've read over 40 or 50 years. That's one thing. For another, you want citations. I haven't seen you cite anybody for anything in what you have said. So you have to be consistent as well. I can give you, if you want, I can give you citations from varying individuals with the problems of dating methods. I can do that if you're interested. As far as the Cambrian stuff goes, I know that you've not studied it. I also know you haven't studied the mathematical challenges to the neo-Darwinian theory of evolution. There's a lot you've not studied.
Matt, I don't care what you think I've studied. I asked you for some peer-reviewed sources, and then you told us you heard it somewhere, but you couldn't remember where. For all I know, a bartender whispered it to you at the end of the night.
No, I don't go to bars.
Share them.
I don't go to bars.
Hold on. Can we have a conversation? Hold on for a second. Can we have a conversation without the constant peer review thing? It's like, I understand that that's fine, but it's like that's always the first thing that you run to or that individuals run to when they don't want to deal with an argument. It's like, okay, if you let's just obviously he just told you that he doesn't have it offhand. So either you're gonna not you're not gonna answer his questions in regards to what he's referring to, or we're gonna move on. But I don't want to have this peer review back and forth. It's really annoying. We're on Clubhouse. People don't have these sources right there in front of them. So let's not do the peer review thing.
Well, it's important. Like he made a claim. He made a claim that he knows he can't defend, and that's all I'm pointing out, which is that evolution is made impossible by the Cambrian explosion. Now, of course, no respectable, or I should say, like never and no, right? But of course, the vast majority of evolutionary biologists, the vast majority of paleontologists, anyone in related field, overwhelmingly will say that's nonsense. Right?
Can you give me any citations for that?
There's nothing about the Cambrian.
Did you hear it at a bar? Give me a citation.
There's nothing about the Cambrian explosion
Give me a citation.
Falsifies evolution. So since you made the positive claim that the Cambrian explosion does falsify evolution,
when did I say that?
Is on you. You said it like 30 seconds. Well, not 30 seconds.
When did I say that? This is how you win debates?
You said the
with illogic and misrepresentation.
Impossible under. Just let me finish, Matt. It's okay. You'll get your chance to share some.
You're monologuing.
Just real quick.
So
I do want to have a respectful conversation with everybody on stage, but when somebody's talking, just let them get out what they have to say. Also, be swift, because like the person wants to respond, so definitely be quick with your reply. But let that person finish so we can have a nice build. Okay, continue, Elliott.
I'll let my claim. You made the claim, Matt, and we all heard you make it with those replays. I pointed out to you on the replay that it's impossible on evolution for the Cambrian explosion to have occurred. So when I asked you to support that positive claim you made, all you said was, I heard it somewhere, I can't remember. Well, now, if that's all you have, I'm just going to say, I don't care where you heard it, and then we can dismiss it and move on, unless you want to provide further support. Because from what I understand of evolution and the Cambrian explosion, there's nothing that's impossible about them. That's one of the things that the same guy I was talking about, Ken Miller, well-respected evolutionary biologist, made both in court and in his published works. Nothing about the Cambrian explosion creation or evolution, or sorry, implies creationism or intelligent design. So if you want to withdraw the claim, that's fine. Otherwise, I would love to hear some support for it, other than I heard it somewhere.
Or Steve Admire, that's where he's going to go.
I've read it in several books, and I will be getting documentation to demonstrate it. So you want documentation for statements made, right? Is that correct?
I want peer-reviewed research that shows the claim you made.
You want peer-reviewed. I got you. So I want you to give me peer-reviewed research that verifies the statement you made that the majority of scientists say the Cambrian explosion does not challenge evolutionary theory.
All right, I will make the inference from the fact that the majority of scientists are aware of the Cambrian explosion, and that the majority of scientists affirm evolution, that they don't think that a Cambrian explosion falsifies evolution. If you don't accept that inference, that's fine. But I'm happy to give you studies showing that. Sorry, I was responding. I'm happy to give you all the studies you want showing how much of the vast majority of scientists in relevant fields accept the general theory of evolution.
Okay. So what we were talking about was a Cambrian explosion, and you said the vast majority of the scientists affirm it and say that there is no problem with the Cambrian explosion in there. Now, since your requirement of me was peer-reviewed stuff, I want the same requirement from you for that. Is that, do you accept that challenge? Do you accept the challenge, or are you going to withdraw the challenge?
I just explained to you how I made the inference. Now, if you don't think that the inference is warranted, that's up to you. But I said the fact that I can give you polling on scientists that show that the vast majority of them accept the theory of evolution.
Okay.
Right. And so, given the relatively mild assumption that they're aware of the Cambrian explosion, it would stand to reason that they don't think the Cambrian explosion falsifies evolution. Now, if you reject that inference, I can't do anything with you. But if you accept it, then I'm happy to give you the polling I'm referring to. That's no problem. Of course, you could find it yourself, as could anyone in this room, with a quick Google search.
Oh, so what a hypocrite. So you want me to provide peer-reviewed stuff. I even told you you can research it quickly on the Cambrian. That's not acceptable to you, but suddenly the reverse of both of those acceptable to you.
I told you I
I'm
was going
sorry,
to
but
give
you're
it
just
to
a
you,
hypocrite.
Matt. I'm going to
Well,
give it to you.
hold on a sec. Hold on a sec. It has to be peer-reviewed that verifies that the majority of scientists say the Cambrian explosion does not pose a challenge to evolution. This is
I
your wording. This is
told
your requirement. Don't be a hypocrite.
I
Don't
told
have a
you
double
the
standard.
inference that I was making, and I told you
No,
what
that's
I could give you
inference.
evidence for.
Excuse me.
So if you
Excuse me.
don't accept the inference I was making, then just say, I think there's a problem in your reasoning. My reasoning, again, is that since the vast majority of scientists accept evolution, and I'm happy to baby walk you through all the polling. If you
Oh,
want me to, I'll
please
send
don't
you all the links.
condescend to me. Can you
All right,
provide what you
Matt.
demand of me? Can you do
Matt,
it
I
yourself?
just explained how I can do that.
Can you do it
So,
yourself?
Matt,
Look, you can't. Hey,
Matt,
admin.
I,
Admin.
what on earth is going on here?
Well,
If
I'm
you
just trying to
think
call
that
you on
there's
the
a
carpet for your
problem,
hypocrisy.
if you think that there's a problem with my reasoning, when I say
Brother,
that since the vast majority of scientists accept
you're
evolution, and since they're
monologuing.
aware of the Cambrian explosion, they probably
Monologuing.
don't think the Cambrian explosion falsifies evolution. That's
Okay.
the inference. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not aware of any polling specifically on their attitudes toward the Cambrian explosion, but I am aware of polling on their attitudes towards evolution. And so it
Okay.
would stand to reason that they
Is
don't
it
think the
plausible?
Cambrian
Is it
explosion
Excuse
plausible?
me.
falsifies evolution.
Bro,
Can you
this is gonna
stop
go in a circle,
monologuing?
bro.
Stop monologuing, man. I'm just holding your feet to the same fire you want to hold my feet to.
I just
I'm just
explained
asking
how
for
you're not.
consistent. Can I finish?
Bro,
You're the one said you want peer-reviewed. Uh, you want me to peer review or provide scientific, atheistic, whoever they are, peer-reviewed individuals about the issue of the Cambrian explosion, saying that it's a challenge to the theory of evolution. It's a challenge. That's what I say. It's a challenge. It's not a falsification. It's a challenge.
You said it was impossible, Matt. Run the replay.
Yeah. I said, you talk, man. You just, you're not polite. And you say you beat me? That's obviously not the
Matt,
case.
you
So I'm asking, excuse me.
I don't
I'm
think you guys
asking
are in
you to do the
competition.
same thing that you want of me. I want you to provide for me in front of everybody. You can hear it. You can email me, mattslick@gmail.com. I want to know the peer-reviewed documents that you have to say that the majority of scientists say the Cambrian explosion does not challenge evolution. Poses no
I
challenge.
already explained to you why I came to that conclusion and what I'll provide for you. If you keep asking for it again, I'm going to assume that you're taking some substance that impairs your memory. So,
What?
like,
Please, why does this evolutionist guy have to be so
I
insulting?
told you.
Okay. We
if we're
also
done
have
with
King
that,
Xerxes. Yeah. So also, I want to move on to Mark and King